What's currently going on with Pudgy penguins or the Pengu token is a nice display of how the mechanics in crypto work. We saw a massive rally, now the price is deflating. Let's have a look at some data most people are not considering. Let's try to figure out where we are headed from here. So check this out. Pudgy penguins was the second best performing cryptocurrency in the last week among the top 100. Yet in the last 24 hours, it was the worst performer among the top 100 altcoins. What is going on? How can a cryptocurrency that used to be the best performer suddenly become the worst? Is the market suddenly changing its opinion that rapidly? The answer to fluctuations like this is leverage, but more on this in a second. Now, I've published a video on the Pengu token 90 days ago, and that video underperformed the typical video. So an average video is indicated here in gray, and that video just 3 months ago is this line in blue. But then I published another video that was 3.5 days ago, and this tends to perform like any other. So attention is slightly growing. And it's not because Pudgy penguins is suddenly trending, it's all just search interest. So people are just wondering what's going on with the price. And we're trying to unpack this in this video. Now the token has quite a bit of liquidity on chain. We've got a pool of 3.5 million over here, another one 1.8 million over here, and a third one 1.2 million. It's one of the most liquid altcoins on the Solana chain. Yet the price initially dumped by more than 90%, and since the 8th of April we are recovering, and now comes the underperformance again. Among all meme coins across all the different blockchains, Pudgy penguins is already the 8th largest. It's got a market cap of 675 million. It's barely smaller than Floki Ino, and after a doubling it would already beat Bonk. The token has 500,000 holders on chain, but most of trading volume actually does not happen on chain despite all the liquidity. The trading on the spot market instead happens mainly on Binance, Maxi and OKX. Pudgy Penguin was launched through the centralized exchanges. From day one, they held a lot of the supply. From day one, the token was listed over there. That's not very typical for a meme coin. Besides the spot trading volume, we've also got the perpetual futures market, and that tends to be even more actively traded. In the last 24 hours, we had Binance trading volume on the perps worth 77 million worth of the token. So very often price discovery does not happen on chain or on the spot market. It actually happens in the levered bets on the price, in the perpetual futures. Now here's what's very important to understand with meme coin trading. Meme coin trading is a game of attention. The more attention there is on an asset, the more purchasing orders we tend to get. The problem is that attention is fleeting, right? It moves from token to token. So as a lot of people buy into a token, the price shoots up, then the next story comes out and all of the capital moves from, say, Pudgy penguins to the next thing. And so we can see this clearly on chain as well. The number of first-time traders for Pudgy penguins peaked on the 21st of April. Interestingly enough, there was not a lot of price appreciation during that time. So even though we see that peak in new wallets trading the token, this might have been some kind of manipulation as well. But since then, we tend to see this coming down. The same is true for the number of token transactions. Initially, after launch, we had a lot of trading volume on chain. That then moved over more and more to the centralized exchanges. Attention moved somewhere else. And now we see this slightly picking up again. The trading volume is relatively equally split across different wallet sizes. And interestingly enough, even though we saw a rally of Pudgy penguins of 230%, the number of holders on chain didn't really change that much over time. That's true for the small retail investor. That's also true for the whale. So on the left side, we see the number of wallets. They have roughly $1,000 worth of the token. In the middle, it's $10,000. On the right, it's $100,000. So this rally can't be explained by organic demand on chain. Instead, it can be explained by short-term leverage, by the perpetual futures market. If there are a lot of people betting on the price to go up, then the price will go up because there's hedging happening on spot as well. And the thing with perpetual futures is that it's short-term capital. So nobody buys into an asset on a perpetual future in order to hold it for 3 or 4 years. It's all just short-term levered bets where positions are held minutes, hours, maybe days, but that's about it. And so have a look at how the funding rate went massively negative when Pudgy Penguins was close to its price peak. So this is when many people got bearish. Once the price rose too quickly, the shorts were willing to pay the longs a lot of financing costs. There was an overhang of short interest. There's also a strong correlation of open interest in the perpetual futures market compared to the price. So when there are more and more people speculating on the price tends to go up. Again, attention equals price appreciation, especially attention among the perp traders. And that then also leads to liquidations. And that's in the end what the market makers want, right? They want to get a lot of liquidation fees. Now, as the volatility in Pudgy Penguins is coming down, the rate of liquidations declines as well. Thus, I believe that the current deflation of that short squeeze that we saw in the last few days, we are likely going to continue to go down all the way until the bottom of that third leg up, right? The third short squeeze. So that's another decline of 19% versus Bitcoin. So this is now Pudgy Penguins relative to Bitcoin. It's not just the US dollar chart. And with a bit of leverage, this can easily turn into 40, 60, maybe even 80%. Again, on a reasonable bet, right? You don't want to bet 20 or 30% of your portfolio on a move like this. It's all a very clean player versus player game. And unless there aren't too many people betting on falling prices of Pengu, this will continue to go down. Of course, if the short becomes a popular play, then we might see another short squeeze. But we're already that deep into the deflation that we're probably going to stay that way for a while. Now, finally, we enter a market again where everything is going up. And I think it's important to seize the opportunity. Not just randomly buy things, but buy the things that tend to go up more than others. Now that's easier said than done, but let's have a look at Virtual, for example. How can we find something like Virtual's protocol not just a week ago, but how can we pick it up early, as in when it just was a few cents? I don't think that we have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to be the best traders on the planet to figure this out. We can just have a look at the people that tend to move markets, that tend to make good trades. For example, here's somebody that did not necessarily always do the best trades. So here are signals by Ben Armstrong. He got some virtual tokens very early on allocated for a promotion. He sold this for very low prices, 1.4, 1.3 cents. So yeah, following people like Ben Armstrong or BitBoy Crypto is probably not the best idea. But there are some people that do make regularly very nice trades. For example, this guy over here, Brian Young. He's got more than 2 million subscribers and he mainly talks about crypto. He was one of the very first influencers that we track that bought virtual token for very low prices. 15K over here for 7 cents. The community talked about this quite a bit, 61 comments. That was more than 1 year ago on the 21st of March 2024. And so the rest is history. The price went up by more than 6,000%, even after a subsequent crash and then the current recovery. The price is still up by almost 2,000%. Crypto is not necessarily a game where the people with the best fundamental analysis win. I think it's much more of a player versus player game. It's much more of a game of insiders versus the not so well informed retail investor. Even though YouTubers like Brian Young do very good crypto content and they also trade well, it's very hard to figure out where do they actually put their money and how much do they invest. Even when I search here for the Virtuals token, I can't even find a dedicated video on Virtual on his channel. The token might be hidden somewhere in those list videos, but that's about it. Now the first dedicated video on Virtual's protocol was published half a year ago over here. That video outperformed the average video. The average video is here in gray and the performance of that video is in blue. At the time, the price was at 41 cents. And even from that point onwards, we went up by more than 1,000%. So I publish videos on various altcoins regularly on this channel. I try to find the ones that still have a lot of upside potential. So feel free to subscribe over here. Now, if it's that easy to make money just by looking at what other people are doing, how do we actually know that early what, say, BitBoy Crypto or what Brian Young is doing? The answer is wallet tracking. With some on-chain analytics, we found out what kind of wallet is owned by what influencer. For example, over here, we found 5 wallets of Brian Young. In total, we track almost 600 wallets. So that's of various influencers. And the way we find those wallets is by looking at what kind of NFTs are they holding, what kind of tokens are they holding. Let's say they share in a video that they have $150,000 worth of a very small token. There aren't too many wallets that might own that amount. We're looking at related wallets, deposit addresses on centralized exchanges. We're doing all kinds of small tips and tricks, and those are all explained here in this little tutorial course on wallet discovery. So that can be found below at thebitcoinstrategy.com. And so the premium community of this channel is focusing on that. We try to find new wallets, we share those wallets with others, and then we track the wallets. And then sometimes we find out that some influencers aren't always ethical. For example, here's a video by one influencer that talked about the champ token just after we got the buying alert. So that's then the way it works, right? The influencer buys a small cap cryptocurrency and then afterwards promotes it on the social media following, and then the social media following is buying into the token, pushing up the price even further. So a classical pump and dump, and the winners are always the people that buy in early, before all of that social media publishing has been done. That's what the wallet tracking is so useful for. And so clearly it's time to make money again. Since October of 2023, more and more money is flowing into the market. The stablecoin market cap is going up. So as per tendency, cryptocurrencies should go up in price. Now the problem is that returns are very concentrated in just a few winners, right? It's a winner takes most game. It's player versus player, and the vast majority of people still lose even in market conditions like this. But yeah, we are tracking those almost 600 wallets. We've got our dedicated influencer trade channel, and when we see insiders like the Memecoin or based AI team accumulating a very small market cap token, for example over here CAC, that's a signal of today, then it's likely that the price rises, right? There are all these accumulation buys, and as long as insiders buy more and more of a very small token, things tend to go up. So this is now an appreciation of almost 200% over the span of a week. And so yeah, there are two ways to make money. We can simply just take random tokens, and they are likely going to appreciate to a degree. But if we want to take full opportunity of this market, it's better to follow the smart money, right? It's better to buy the virtual protocols of this world when it's just a few cents worth of a token and then moves to several dollars. I'm of course sharing my own trades in premium as well. That goes without saying. And so feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 per month. There should be a link somewhere here on the screen, probably at the bottom right, that leads you directly to that page. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube, or see you in premium. Cheers.